to start. When you saw what you saw in the preseason pitching defense,
right.
How different was that from what you saw this last week?
Entirely different. We have prided ourselves on throwing strikes and playing good defense, and we've seen that. I mean, we've only been outside for a scrimmage probably a couple different times, but we played good defense in the scrimmages and threw strikes in the scrimmages, and so it was a bit surprising. And those two things often go hand in hand. Honestly, it's just the tempo of the game. Are we throwing strikes? Are we eliminating the free bases on the mound? And defensively, we need to do a better job of picking the pitchers up, and vice versa.
Was it something that kind of snowballed on itself a little bit as the weekend kind of went or anything?
I wouldn't say that. I just think they took advantage of every mistake that we made. I mean, they did what good teams do. Give them an inch and take a mile. And I think that's kind of what we saw this weekend was ran into a good team, well coached, knew they would be. And they made more plays than we did, and they got the results they wanted.
How do you sort of, reconcile the difference between preseason and what happened? Was that just getting outside opening weekend? Was that something else?
I think it's just trying to break in a new team against another opponent that's got similar goals that you do, and again, it's certain things that you don't necessarily learn about your team until you get in the fire. And we saw some things that were surprising, but it's not going to define who we are as a team. I mean, that's kind of the message that we've talked about. It's like, hey, we're going to learn from it and make the adjustments necessary to move on, and I anticipate that happening.
Have you guys kind of responded the right way?
Oh yeah. We've only had one practice since we got back, but it was turn the page, move on. Again, we're trying to become the best consistent version of ourselves, and that's the point that we've got to get to, and we need to figure that out sooner rather than later.
Which area was most surprising to you that didn't show up?
Defense. Yeah, I mean, I think that part of it is what we hang our hats on and that we're really good at. And there's really not been any signs of, going into the year that it was going to be an issue. So that part of it was probably the most surprising. And the starting pitching, I guess, just not really giving us, a whole lot of quality innings. But, again, hitting's hard, and, some guys have a little jitters at times when it comes to some things to opening weekend, and that's part of it. But, yeah, I'd say defensively, that's probably, that's the most frustrating part, the fundamentals, just not taking care of the ball.
What do you think about the level of competition you got this coming weekend?
Yeah, it's not going to get any easier. I mean, they're always a national program. They reload every year. They're extremely well coached. I have a new head coach, but he's been there and been architect of their College World Series teams, and I have a ton of respect for how they play the game and how they go about it. And so, yeah, it's going to be another really big challenge. It's something I know our guys are excited about, and we get to play in a big league ballpark. And let's hope Mother Nature doesn't shut down Texas while we're down there.
I know Colby was kind of a bright spot this week, and then I know you've talked about him being able to battle back. How nice was it just to see that kind of manifest itself?
Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. I mean, what a great story. Just honestly picked up a bat about 6 or 8 weeks ago again, and just seeing him healthy on the mound and competing, and just not overthinking it. Just it was a lot of fun to see him back healthy.
With the same rotation,
Yeah.
first three this week?
Yeah, the first 3 guys will be the same in that order. I expect those guys to have a good bounce back.
Was it nice to get some of those younger guys out on the bump this past weekend?
Yeah, I mean, 4-game series, we figured that we'd see pretty much all hands on deck. So had some guys had their first collegiate outings and kind of get the nerves out of the way, and it was good to do that again against a quality opponent in a tough environment.
Any update on Jake and how he's?
Yeah, Jake, it's not good news on him. He's unfortunately looks like he's going to have something that keeps him out. So
Season.
Yeah, it's going to be a long-term injury. Yep.
How's Jack Style coming along? I know he was someone you guys liked at first base too. Didn't really see him this weekend. Is he in the plans as well?
For sure. Yeah. I mean, he's just like everybody else on our team, ready at any moment's notice. So he's working hard, and he's squarely in the mix. And he found himself on, at first base at the end of the game when Colby was on the mound, and so he'll get his opportunities.
What do you say to a guy like Jake, who's been through some stuff before, obviously?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard. It's difficult. Just going through it, a couple different times with an injury. Again, it's something that Colby's dealt with, and maybe he can look to that and see, hey, I can come back. Jake's a baseball player. He wants to play baseball, and so I think he's going to do what it takes to get back and have a great attitude. He's been through it once before, and just come back better than ever. But it's tough. I mean, it's a difficult thing. I mean, I just told him I love him, gave him a hug, and said, hey man, we'll get through it. So.
What's the key for stopping the run? TCU, I know, likes to be aggressive on the base paths. What's
Get
kind
the
of the number
leadoff
one
hitter.
thing?
Yeah, we didn't do a very good job of that this past weekend either. So get the leadoff hitter. Again, just mixing up your timing, those type of things, and don't get into too much of a rhythm. I mean, you also don't want it to take away from your conviction on your pitch. So that's the point of the pressure run game, is to try to take your attention off the hitter. So we've got to be cognizant of, we got to go get the hitter and trust that our timing and looks and those type of things are going to be where they need to be to slow that running game down. We got a great catcher that is really one of the best catch and throw guys in the country.
Will, what is the exact injury for Jake?
It's speculative right now. We don't have a definitive answer, but it's nothing that he's going to be able to come back from this year.
And what does the schedule look like for you guys this week, especially with the excitement of playing in the big league ballpark?
Yeah, so we'll head out tomorrow. We'll be able to practice down there, kind of get used to the field tomorrow night, and we'll get going. I know there's maybe a couple of other teams that are actually going to play in the ballpark because of the inclement weather down there. They're adding some games, so won't change what we're doing, but it's going to be exciting. I mean, when this was on the schedule, just knowing that you're in a big league, brand new ballpark, and you're going to play because there's a roof over it, and it'll be a great environment. I think we'll have a really good contingency of Husker fans down there too.
Coach, what did you think of Jesson's performance over the series?
Yeah, one of the definite bright spots of the weekend, and I wouldn't say that I expected him to hit 700 or whatever it was, but certainly a guy that we knew had a good swing, doesn't really overcomplicate things, just kind of takes what the pitcher gives him. And it was cool to see that as a freshman to come in and step right up and do that. He came off the bench and got a couple hits in a game, and it was an impressive weekend for him.
Cool.
Thanks.
All good.
Thanks.
Yep.
Appreciate it.